Good evening. On behalf of the Abingdon Town Council, I'd like to welcome everyone to the November 4th, 2014 regular session of the Abingdon, Virginia Town Council. A couple of brief housekeeping matters I'll bring to people's attention. First of all, if you have a cell phone, we'd ask that you please turn it off or put it on buzz or stun as the occasion might be. And I would also point out that all of the council members each month, in anticipation of this meeting, we receive a substantial amount of material to prepare us for the issues that we're going to have come before us. There is a copy of that particular set of documents that we received on the table on the left side of the room, or my left side of the room. If you care to review those documents, you're more than welcome to. That being said, I'll ask our clerk and assistant town manager, Ms. Cecile Rosenbaum, if she'll, which hat are you wearing at the moment?
Well, I think I'll be the clerk for a little while.
All right, and I may refer to you as, as a clerk, but we wear a lot of different hats around here. I'll ask our clerk, Cecile Rosenbaum, if she'll call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Here.
Mr. Howard.
Here.
Mr. Humphries.
Here.
Mrs. Lowe.
Here.
Mayor Morgan.
Here.
And let the record reflect that all 5 council members are present.
Thank you. And I believe Mr. Greg Kelly, our town manager, is offered to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So
We heard that.
All right, thank you. Council, we have 2 sets of minutes for our consideration tonight. We have the October 8th, 2014 work session meeting and also the regular meeting minutes from that same day. Are there any corrections or additions that need to be noted? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion, please, regarding these minutes.
So moved.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as presented. Any comment? Hearing none, I'll ask our town clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Thank you very much. At this time, as is customary, we have special employee recognitions, and I'll ask our town manager, Mr. Greg Kelly, if he'll take things from here for us, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, it's always my pleasure to recognize the town staff for their longevity here with the town. It's a testament to their dedication to their line of work, and it's also a testament to the town being a great place to work in. I would like to call the first 2 individuals forward tonight who are employees of the Abingdon Police Department. Both of them have now been with the Abingdon Police Department for 10 years. So if I could get Scott DeBusk and Brian Stanker to come forward to receive their 10 years of service plaque, please. You guys all look alike. Turn around, get a thank you. Let's get a photograph. Thank you.
Now, you're going to
Good
have to come
job.
up here. You're going to have to come up here and have a picture of the rest of us. Yeah.
And I'll blend. Let me stand back.
All right. All right. Come on up here.
I'm really going to
No, I remember that.
Well, I kind of skew the works.
All right.
Okay.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for your service and all you do for us. We appreciate it very much. All right.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, there are 2 employees who were unable to be with us tonight that should nonetheless be recognized. Mr. Bill Yates, who is with the Abingdon Parks and Recreation Department. Bill has been with the Abingdon Parks and Recreation Department for 10 years. Also, David Pendergrass has been working for the Public Works Department for 20 years, and neither of them could be present tonight, but it's nonetheless a testament to their dedication to the town that they've been here as long as they can, and I want to commend them for their service in their absence. Last but not least is sort of a fixture in the town. You know who he is when you see him coming half a mile away, and that is Kevin Worley. Kevin, if you'll come forward. Kevin has been working with the Abingdon Parks and Recreation Department for the last 25 years, and it's not very often that we get to...
Well done, sir.
Before I come down and present you with your plaque, Kevin, and I may be speaking out of turn, but I believe you have been here from the very beginning, almost, with the Parks and Rec Department. Is that correct?
No, Bill was here a few years before I started, I guess, but in running, I've probably been with the Parks and Recreation longer than any other employee.
So that means you came on in 1780 and he was...
Well, I just want to say...
I just don't look as young as I think I do, you know?
I just want to say that Kevin has a great personality, and he has a very large staff up there, and he's constantly devoted to providing the safest environment for our kids and adults to go up and work out in. And I just want to say I really appreciate all you do for the town of Abingdon, Kevin.
Thank you.
Oh, very good, sir.
Stand up?
Now, I believe you're officially K1, if I recall.
K1? Oh, I'm one of the KKK.
No. I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
All righty.
Yeah, but
Three
actually, it's Kevin Worley, and Kevin Costello, Kevin Sigmund, and Kevin Christie.
Very good.
We got enough for a relay now.
So if you want to go to work for the town, you need to be named
That's
Kevin.
right. If we can get one more, we have a basketball team.
All right, thank you very much for all you do. All right. Okay, Mr. Kelly, is that, no, I believe that has this batch of folks for the moment. It's certainly a pleasure to see this type of longevity and service with our town employees. I'm very appreciative of that, as we all are. We have no second readings of this evening. However, we do have we have a second reading of an ordinance this evening, which is consideration of a petition for the right-of-way vacation request for the east-west unopened right-of-way. It's approximately 250 feet long, 15 feet wide between Campbell Street and Fulkerson Street, and it's bounded by parcels 17-11-33 and 17-11-35 on the north, and parcels 17-129 and 17-129A to the south. Mr. Dew, we have acted on this once before, but could you remind us, just for the record, of what we're looking at here this evening?
I would be glad to, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This is the final step in the vacation of a east-west unopened right-of-way between Campbell Street and Fulkerson Street. We've gone through all of the steps required by the Code of Virginia. And as you mentioned, we did at the last council meeting have the first reading of this ordinance. This is the required second reading, which will make the vacation official, and then I believe 30 days after that it goes into full effect.
Okay. Very good, sir. And again, it's over on the Fulkerson Street area, and we've had it viewed by the viewers, and we've had public hearings, and we've acted on it one time. Does anybody have any questions of Mr. Dew regarding this matter? Okay, I'll entertain a motion regarding this, please.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve on this second reading.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, again, we have a motion and a second to approve this vacation of right-of-way on the second reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask our town clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering. Aye. Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Ward.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have no bids tonight. We do have several presentations, one of which, is Ed Roberts with us, or some of his representatives tonight?
I had an email confirmation that he would be here tonight, so he may have had a family something that came up.
Okay, well, I hope everything's well with him, and we'd be happy to reschedule that presentation in the near future. Mr. Kelly, we have our next item is consideration of the Bank of America refund payment agreement relative to bank franchise taxes paid to the town of Abingdon. Would you care to remind us about this one, please? And I think you may have some notion of how we should perhaps act on this.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council, if you'll recall, one of the larger banks that had a business in town performed an audit on their franchise fees that had been paid to many localities across the Commonwealth and abroad. It went before a tribunal who recommended a settlement, and within the terms of that settlement, they gave 3 options of how a locality could pay back the overpayment of the franchise fee. One was upfront, one was financed over a 5-year period, and one was to be deducted from future franchise fees over a 5-year period as well. I have recommended that we accept the third, and that way we will not fill anything out of the current existing budget in terms of having to pay it back, and they will simply deduct from us each year over the course of the next 5 years whatever amounts are necessary to compile what has been overpaid to them.
Sounds like an excellent strategy. Does anyone have any comments about this, or if not, I might entertain a motion perhaps to the fact that we accept the option that Mr. Kelly just described.
Mr. Mayor, I move we accept option 3 from the bank settlement and authorize the town manager to execute the proper documents.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to authorize our town manager to exercise option number 3 that was presented to us by the Bank of America regarding the refund situation, and enter into any necessary documents regarding this transaction. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering.
Aye.
Mr. Howard.
Aye.
Mr. Humphries.
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe.
Aye.
Mayor Morgan.
Aye. Okay, thank you. I believe Mr. Rick Statzer is with us this evening to discuss some proposed bylaw changes to the Sustained Abingdon Committee. Good to have you with us this evening.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'd like to present a proposed change to the Sustained Abingdon bylaws. And that change is to eliminate the term limit for the town of Abingdon employees. We think this change is necessary to maintain stability and continuity within the committee. We basically have a lot of projects and events going on now, and we need a constant membership in the committee to carry through with these events. And with having the term limits for the Abingdon employees eliminated, we think this would facilitate that process.
You have mentioned, for example, removing the term limitation for employees, and the committee, if I recall correctly, is basically made of a mixture of staff from the town and members of the public. Are you proposing that the term limits would that continue to apply to the public members?
No, just the town of Abingdon employees.
Okay, just them. All right. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Statzer about this?
Rick, the only thing I would like to ask you is the total committee is made up of how many members? Do we know offhand?
Right now, we're at 9.
Okay, and how many of those are town employees?
Right now, we are 5.
Okay.
That's Kevin Sigmund, Kevin Worley,
Sarita Moore?
Sarita.
Rick?
Okay. What is the current term limit for town members?
2.
2 years.
Yes.
All right, in other words, the term is 2 years, but you could be reappointed for a second term.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And are you currently in a staggered, I understand the need for continuity. Are these members, I'm looking at, if you'll excuse me, I can't interpret this and talk at the same time. Are they on staggered terms, so you wouldn't be rotating everybody at the same time? Everybody wouldn't come off at the same time?
Somewhat, they're staggered right now.
Not much.
I just worry that because if it comes to static, that in the long term, it might do the committee a disservice.
What is, Rick, what's do you know what the maximum number of members that are allowed on that committee?
11.
11.
I do know that, the town employees, for the most part, are department heads and, people that are, have major roles and so forth here. And I have always been, very supportive of the need to have term limits and so forth for members of committees and so forth, because we've had situations in the past where you had folks that served on the planning commission, for example, for 36 years, that kind of thing, which, we certainly had continuity. There was no doubt about that. But again, the town employees are some of these folks that their role will be constant and, and continue.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the town employees that are on here, and I see, I see your need, because Kevin Sigmund represents the Tree Commission, Kevin Worley represents Parks and Recreation, Sarita represents Sewer, you and Marion represent Building and Codes, so I don't really have any problem with changing that to.
And if I may say something, Mr. Mayor.
Are you wearing your assistant?
Which
hat do you have on?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm going to be the assistant town manager for a moment. If you think about it, a lot of these folks that are on the committee now that they have moved forward with are in charge of town buildings. And one of the biggest impacts that Sustain Abingdon works with are changes that they're making within our own town buildings, and then passing the word out to residents to make those same types of changes. Coombs Center's looked at a whole revival on lighting and all kinds of things that they're doing. Sarita at wastewater, you don't find anybody more conservation conscious than she is. These key people are doing, lots of things even within our own town buildings, and then spreading the messages. And I think this would be one of those circumstances where you probably won't have the normal problems that you would encounter by eliminating the terms on this. And if somebody decides at some point that they don't want to serve or wish to serve any longer, they just make it known, they resign from the committee, and we replace them and move forward. My recommendation would be council maybe consider giving it a shot and seeing, if this works okay. Just for, and you might even review it again in a year if you would want to.
And we have had some changes in, staffing, some folks that have moved on to other opportunities who were on that committee, and they in turn are going to be replaced. So there will be some fresh blood from the town staff come in. But as I understand the proposed change, we would continue the representatives from the town, the public and whatnot, they would still be subject to the term limits.
Right, so, and we've got 4 from the public now.
Right, and you have one tonight. You actually have another appointment tonight
saw
to
that,
make
yeah.
too.
Right.
So you would be adding another person, and I think that gets you up to 10 total.
Right, that gives us an opportunity to have 6 members community members at large, and 5 town staff who are department heads who really don't work together daily in.
Right.
That they don't see each other daily. It's not like they're not even in the same buildings, I don't think.
Yeah, Rick and Marion. And they're all doing vastly different things, which is actually kind of neat to see, because they're all doing, their focuses are all very different, but for one common goal, for sure.
Right.
Further discussion. Go ahead, please.
Well, just as a side note, maybe we need to continue to advertise the 2 vacancies until they are
If you
filled.
tonight, you only have one left.
Okay. Right.
Further discussion, questions?
Ms. Durham, are you okay with the discussion?
Yeah, I like the discussion, I appreciate the discussion, and I'm glad there's a mix. I'm glad you're going to bring in some more community members. as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, we're constantly looking for community members. So,
So, Mr. Mayor, if I will, I move that we eliminate the term limits of the Town of Abingdon employees in the bylaws of Sustain Abingdon Committee.
Okay, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Would that motion also include to accept the changes of the bylaws of
Yes.
Sustain Abingdon?
To accept the changes of the bylaws, yes.
Okay, and does the second,
It reflects that also, sir.
okay. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Druring?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
And Mayor Morgan?
Aye. And don't run away. Now, while we have you here, I understand that we have on November the 15th, America Recycles Day event in the Abingdon Police Station parking lot. I believe your committee is putting that one together, and can you
Yes.
tell us briefly about that?
yes, we set this event up. This is our first time out at this event. It's to coincide with the American Recycles Day. And right now, we have scheduled to be there a document shredding truck. We're going to do a mercury thermometer exchange. Bring in your mercury thermometer. We'll provide a digital thermometer. We're going to have a section set up for taking clothes and things like that. And we're going to we had discussions with MXI for them to be there. There was some budget constraints there that we just wasn't where we could have them with this event this year, but hopefully if things work out and we're able to do this again next year, they can join us. But we want to provide some information that would direct people to MXI for their household hazardous waste. And we're hoping for a large turnout.
I believe there's an electronics recycling.
And
part of
an
that.
e-waste, yes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, yes.
And I noticed the last time that we did that on, around the Earth Day event, there was an amazing load of that material that was brought in for the occasion. So we want to encourage people to take advantage of that opportunity and keep those products out of the landfill if we can.
Excellent. And I have had some calls related to the event, and seems to be some community excitement growing, so we're looking forward to it.
Well, very good. I'm excited, and I plan to be there. I've got a load I'm going to bring.
Very well.
All right. Well, very good, sir. Thank you. We
Thank you very
appreciate all
much.
the work that your committee is doing, and thank you again for your efforts on behalf of the town of Abingdon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
All right. Very good. We have no resolutions this evening, but that brings us to matters not on the agenda. And at this time, if there was anyone present who wishes to bring an item before the town for our consideration, they may do so at the present time. I see a familiar face back here. Yes, sir. Either one will be fine.
Good evening. My name is Todd Pillion, 205 Stonewall Heights, Abingdon, Virginia. I think I know everyone here. In case you haven't heard, hopefully you already have, I'm running for the House of Delegates seat for the 4th District, which includes Abingdon. And I've been meeting mayors as well as town council members all over the 4th District. And I'm glad to be here tonight at my home. And I would appreciate any support you could give me. And the most important thing you can do is get out and vote on December 9th, because we're expecting very low voter turnout, and we need every vote we can get. Thank you, and I'll be happy to entertain questions or anything like that after your meeting or during.
Well, let us thank you, first of all, for your willingness to serve. All of us here, or at least 5 of us here, have actually run for election over the years, and we know what a tough job it is, and what a commitment of time and energy it is, first of all, to become elected, and then to provide the service to the community that is required. And we're certainly very happy to see a representative from the town of Abingdon who wishes to go and represent our districts, regions in Richmond. And thank you very much for your willingness to serve, and first of all, to be here with us tonight.
Thank you.
Others?
And thank you for all of your support on the Tobacco Commission with our projects here in Abingdon, Washington County.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Kelly?
Yeah, I was just going to say, hopefully we'll see you on January the 28th.
Yeah.
That would be great. I'd love to see that. Hopefully, I'll see you on December 9th. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Todd.
Thank you for coming by tonight. And I might point out to you that we're usually several hours getting to this point in the agenda, so you picked the right
night.
You surely did.
You did.
Very good. Okay, well, thank you. Are there others that wish to address the council this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I was hoping we might get Kevin Costello to come forward with a couple of items for the council, if that would be all right.
It's always a pleasure to hear from Mr. Costello.
He has good things, I think.
Ah.
He even has a gift.
He brought his lunch bucket with him.
Okay.
It's not Christmas presents. I didn't prepare a speech or anything, but I was asked to bring.
Yeah, and for the
Probably
record,
better to show it this way, I guess, since
and
everybody
for the
else.
record, Mr. Costello is our Director of Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Tourism.
And so this is the sign that we received from the Rails to Trails Conservancy for the induction of the Virginia Creeper Trail into their Rails to Trails Hall of Fame. And we received that recognition a couple weeks back at the ribbon cutting of the Finley House, the new Creeper Trail Welcome Center. So I don't know if y'all want to pass that around or get a picture, or I don't know. I just brought it because to see it last week too.
All right, that's fine.
It's only ever happened one time. I didn't get to see the thing.
No.
Now, this is the,
Not to ask a trick question, but how many trails are in this?
It's 20-something.
Yes, I can answer that because I provided them with some information. There are over 119 rails to trails in the United States, and I believe we were the 21st inductee, somewhere in that range of,
27th?
yeah. So it's quite an honor, and the sole inductee this year.
All right.
Yep. And then this interesting looking thing is a Shining Example Award that we received a couple weeks back down in Charleston, South Carolina, almost said West Virginia again, for Tourism Office of the Year, $2 million budget or below. So we competed against several different states with CVBs with higher budgets than ours, and walked away with the Shining Example Award from the Southeast Tourism Society, which is a regional tourism association that we belong to that represents all of the southeastern states.
So is there about 12 states or so that's represented
There's
in that?
13, I think, actually.
All right.
I think they're including parts of Texas in the southeast now.
Ah.
Yes.
and a standing ovation.
All
Yeah.
right.
This, thanks everybody that went. I think we had a good turnout, a good representation for Abingdon, and the award was well received, and very proud.
Well, and congratulations to you for, first of all, the hard work that you and your department have done to make that award possible. All of us here certainly understand the role that tourism plays in both the quality of life in our community, but also in our economic or the economy of our community, and we thank you very much for what you're doing to help us grow it. And it is a pleasure to see this work recognized for the top level of professionalism that it is.
Well, thank
And
you.
congratulations.
My pleasure to do it.
And that'll look good on my mantle.
There you go.
All
It
right.
does, yeah. They came with directions.
Please. Yeah.
How are you going to top this, Kevin?
I have no idea.
What have you done for us lately?
That's how that works, right?
All right, we're all
You're
here.
going to get the torch next.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir.
And the other two people that were probably instrumental in the tourism department that helped win this award were at the conference, and
Yes, Tanya and Tennille were
Tanya
there.
and Tennille were both there.
Yep.
Well, your bag's not empty, is it?
Yeah,
That's all I got in there.
That's it.
Well, we're going to at least give you a round of applause.
We're going to put those up on the trail, so.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
We're having a real time with those signs.
Well, congratulations and well done. We've had a good month in our tourism efforts, and a number of good things have come our way, and we appreciate all that you and your department have done for us.
Todd's daughter is the star of our tourism video.
Yes, she is.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always
All
playtime in Abingdon.
Very good, okay.
Working the polls today.
All right, is there anyone else that wishes to address, or anyone I'm leaving out here? Ms. Rosenbaum?
Don't think so.
Okay, I'm going to work under the assumption that the council probably has given all of its reports downstairs. Is there anybody I'm leaving out, or does our town manager or vice mayor have anything that they need to bring to our attention?
No, sir.
Okay, that brings us to appointments to boards and committees. We have several appointments, one to the Sustain Abingdon Committee, the Economic Development Authority, where I think Mr. Buddington is eligible for reappointment, and then the Tourism Advisory Committee. Council, what's your pleasure regarding these matters?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we reappoint Rich Buddington to the Economic Development Authority, and I move that we appoint Becky Nave to the Tourism Advisory Committee, and I'll save the next appointment for a question.
Okay. We have a motion. Is there a second to those?
I'll second her motion.
All right, again, we have a motion to appoint, to reappoint Mr. Rich Buddington, who is eligible for a second term, to the Economic Development Authority, and the motion also to appoint Becky Nave as representative from Hartwood, and I'm advised that Mrs. Nave replaced Todd Christensen on the committee and is eligible to serve a full term. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion regarding this matter? Hearing none, I'll ask Ms. Rosenbaum to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, and then you seem to have a question, Mayor Lowe?
I don't know the gentleman that has applied for the Sustain Abingdon Committee, and so my question is, that person is from Damascus.
Yes.
So,
He owns a business here. He owns the CrossFit training place up on, what is that, Trigg?
Trigg.
It is Trigg.
Yeah, Trigg Street. Paul Godola, I think is how you say his last name. And I think Rick's had numerous conversations with him, and he has expressed an interest in joining this committee. So he does own a business here in town.
Okay.
I think he also lives, doesn't he live in that business?
They just moved back.
Okay. Does someone care to?
I'll be happy to make that motion. The other question I had was, his name was spelled P-A-U on the application, and he left out the L, so I couldn't pronounce his name. So I move that we appoint Paul Godola to the Sustain Abingdon Committee.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to appoint Paul Godola to the Sustain Abingdon Committee. Is there any further discussion regarding this matter? Hearing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. Deering?
Aye.
Mr. Howard?
Aye.
Mr. Humphries?
Aye.
Mrs. Lowe?
Aye.
Mayor Morgan?
Aye. Okay, thank you. All right, and council, believe it or not, I think that may actually bring us to the end of our meeting. I would point out we have several things that are happening here in our community this fall, one of which is the First Thursdays will continue. We have an event coming up this Thursday night in our arts community. Mistletoe Market will be the 7th and the 9th at the Higher Education Center. Barter Theater will be having an evening with Shirley Jones starting this 7:30 at the Barter main stage. We've touched on the America's Recycles Day on the 15th. There will be a craft show at the Coombs Center on the 21st and the 23rd. And here's one, I didn't prepare adequately this year, but on the November the 22nd, Zazzy's will have the best beard and mustache competition. So, if you haven't started preparing by now, you probably won't be a contender, but there's going to be next year. The 26th, Holiday Memories, will be the opening performance at the Barter Stage 2, and a Modern Christmas Carol will start on the 28th at Barter. Thanksgiving Dinner Buffet at Hartwood Artisan Center will be on the 27th, and we'll close our town offices on the 27th and 28th. The 29th, we're looking at January the 3rd, Old Christmas Tree event at Fields Penthouse, which has been a very popular event over the years. And the Kiwanis Christmas Parade will be on the 6th. Also, the Ugly Sweater Day in town, okay. And New Year's Story Day at Fields Pen. And I guess what...
There's one more, Mr. Mayor.
Excuse me, would you enlighten us, please?
And that is on November 11th at 11 o'clock. There'll be the dedication of the pergola, as well as the celebration of veterans of War of 1812, or the War of 1812. There's not any veterans around still from that war, but that will be at the Veterans Park at that time.
And thank you very much. And that was not on my list here, but it certainly should have been, and we encourage everyone who can to be there. The pergola is a wonderful attraction, and yes, ma'am, I said...
November 29th is also Small Business Saturday, where folks are encouraged to shop local for the holidays, and we will have a kickoff breakfast, a cash off breakfast at Baby Cakes
All right.
from 8:30 to 10:30, $10 for buffet. So.
Okay. Very good. I would also point out that our next regular meeting of the Town Council will be on December the 1st. We appreciate everybody's indulgence. We did make an exception this evening, as we normally meet on Mondays, but I would point out that we do have two of our members who are here with us tonight, Councilman Howard and Councilman Humphreys, who are now genuine certified planning commissioners. Newly minted, hot off the press today, and they've gone through the 40-hour training session, not including the reading and the homework that goes along with it. 4,000 hours. It's a big deal, a lot of effort, a lot of hard work that's involved in that, and we are deeply appreciative of their efforts to increase their professionalism in their service to the town, and thank you for doing it. And who else was there, participated?
Langley Shazer,
All right.
Jenny Carlisle, and Wayne Craig. There were 5 of us total.
Okay.
So I think that pretty much gets everybody on the planning commission is
Certified.
Thank you very much for your efforts on that, and it is sincerely appreciated, and I will say myself, it was the best thing I ever did to prepare myself for service here on this council was to go through that program. Mrs. Lowe and I are also certified planning commissioners, as is Mr. Kelly, and anybody else here?
Miss Eisenhower.
Miss Eisenhower, excuse me.
Sean
And not to slight you, and Sean Taylor, so it's a good program. All right, anybody else got anything? Thank you very much. We are adjourned.